Absolutely nothing.
Oh,
Nothing.
come on.
No, nothing.
Come
Okay.
on.
Like something pragmatic? Yeah, I
I
can't think of anything.
well, that's,
Fitting.
meanwhile, it is time once again for the main story quest, where the Trinity Bros give you their MMO opinion. That's right. We're going to give you our MMO opinions because we have opinions. Everyone has an opinion. And a what's it called? No, whatever. Anyway, so to this one up here, case I pulled this from listening to Massively OP the podcast. Okay, and someone asked a question. I think it was one of the questions that came in from their viewers. What skills have you learned from playing MMOs? What skills have you learned? Like and real world stuff, right? We do know there are uh, cookbooks out there, people who've done cooking, World of Warcraft cookbooks or whatnot, right? Not necessarily you learn cooking by virtue of doing it, or fishing, or guitar playing, or whatever it is. But I'll give you an example. Bree, who's also one of the co-hosts, said that she learned about leadership because she ran a guild. She learned about organization, about how to do those kind of things. Of course, also spreadsheets too, right? They want to organize and be that. So that's a weird. And then some people do this, by the way. They put it on their resume. If people don't understand it, ran a guild, which, by the way, if a successful guild can be a pretty much of a way to put it on your resume, saying well. So, I put it out there for me. I'm gonna answer this first because as you guys chance to think about it a little more. Okay, the skills I've learned from playing MMO is, like you said, leadership. I ran a guild, and you have to deal with this. And you have to have patience. You have to have patience. Yes, I wasn't always patient. You make some mistakes, but you had to teach and you learn to grow, and you had to also help the rest of the guilds to be, say, a little more patient with those who are slower picking things up. At some point you got to cut them. That's the hard thing too. Is actually telling someone, "We're sorry, you don't quite fit our guild anymore." And those are real world things that when you're a leader and a manager or maybe more of a manager out in the real world, you can learn that stuff too. Now, for me, also, I talk about the fact that I'm a streamer, and therefore I've learned to better communicate. And I've heard people say they've also learned communication skills in playing MMOs too. So, Bazil, what have you learned, real world skills that you've learned from playing MMOs?
I never really thought about it, but I definitely would go with the things that you just stated for sure. Running a guild, you learn leadership skills and you learn management of other people, how to scheduling, uh, especially if you're in a multinational company. Some being able, because you're going to know, you're going to have that experience of, hey, there's people that play with me that are in America and Canada and Germany and over in Australia and Japan. You've got all these time zones to work with. And so when if you do get a job that's multinational, you're going to have that down. You're going to be like, okay, I know what we need to do to make this work. Um, I would say typing and knowing the
Typing, yeah.
layout of a keyboard and including the number pad, because you're going to be using a mouse and keyboard, and you're going to need to know where all the hotkeys are and all the different things that man, when I started playing EverQuest back in 98, 99, my typing wasn't so bad, wasn't, but boy, did it really improve, because a lot of that back in that time period, I know now people are like, oh, we got Discord. Well, back then there were one or two apps out there that you could download to talk to people, but most people didn't have a machine that could play EverQuest and talk in a voice over IP. Um, so a lot of it was typing. And I remember doing guild meetings where I typed everything out for our guild meeting. And boy, I'll tell you, I got really good. And now I can almost with my eyes shut, type away and know where everything is. And I think that's a skill that you most definitely will use, especially in modern jobs
Yep.
where you're working on a computer. Um, I think those are like the two biggest ones. that I've taken away. But I bet if I were to like sit and think about it, it'd be easy to. I don't know that I would put it on a resume, but then again, I mean, it is a life experience.
Yep.
And if you don't have any other experience, maybe that would give you an edge. I mean, and even if it gave them a giggle, I mean, I could think of as someone, because I have been in positions where I got to hire and fire people, not very often, but it would give them, if I was to receive one and someone said, "Oh, I'm an MMO player," I would giggle at it. But you know what? The other cool thing is that would make them stand out from the rest of the
Yep.
crowd,
Especially if those
you
who
know, and
know.
I'd be like, you know what? This is weird, but I like it. I like the spunk in this kid. Let's give him a try.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. That what so I'll do the ditto thing like Solomon and for your stuff, and then on top of that I'll put the knowing the keyboard
That's a good one.
yeah.
I mean, I always count the fact that, I learned how to text when texting wasn't around when Dr. Camelot first came out in 2001. And I learned the language of MMOs.
That's true.
LOL, ROFL, LMAO, all these different things, right? And so when texting started hitting the wave as an older person, I didn't lose. I knew exactly what was going on. That kept me
Yeah.
young in some respects. That's also one thing I've learned from IR. It's like kept me young. So what about you? What have you learned? What real world skills have you learned from playing MMOs?
Absolutely nothing.
Oh, come
Nothing.
on.
No, nothing.
Come
Okay.
on.
Like something pragmatic? Yeah, I
I-
can't think of anything.
Well, that's fine. I mean, fair enough. I mean, that's okay. I mean, it's also a question that it pops out. You start thinking like, wait, what? I would say I already pointed the fact that I've learned how to be better communicator at streaming. I don't and ah. Okay. Like a joke I heard at work the other day. Someone said, "Hey, the guy who invented the umbrella? He meant to call it umbrella, but he paused."
I like it.
So I
approve.
mean, there's things in the games that like. There's like cooking, but you don't necessarily cook. Okay, so it's not like you learn anything from that. But people have learned real world skills of cooking by virtue of seeing what they've seen in the game and want to replicate that. Doesn't sound the same thing. I know you can't go fishing like you do in the game, right? But there's a certain amount of patience you kind of learn from things. That's why I put it out there. I'm just curious to know what else is out there that may have missed about what can you do. So if anybody out there watching the YouTube channel right now, and you're watching this, give us some ideas. Yeah, Jaziel?
I do want to add something else pop, and I'm sure it'll keep pop even after the show. I'll be thinking, oh yeah, of course. I think that the MMOs also taught me to pay more attention when I'm reading. Now, I know some of you go, what? World of Warcraft has this bad thing where if you don't really read it, if you just try to skim over it, you're going to be lost. You're not going to know where to go, what you're supposed to do. And on top of learning better reading apprehension skills, whatever you want to call it, the thing on top of that is you could, if you're a younger person, I would say I already had this skill, but it's one that you could learn from it, is learning problem solving and learning how to go to other resources to look up information. And that could give you kind of an edge out there if you're in that type of a environment, work environment where you need to do a lot of research, because a lot of these games, you got to go look up videos on how to do a certain thing, or go look to fan websites or whatever. And I could totally see that being something that you're learning, and you're not realizing that that's a skill you're developing and you're getting better at as you play it.
Yeah. So Malice kind of makes the same thing about your typing. For me, I've learned a lot about how to type on my keyboard a little bit better. Besides, I've also learned how to people interact with each other, and I've kind of learned how to open up. And I do have to say that MMO games he's played for 1,000 hours has helped him read a lot better. That'd be good.
There you go.
Yeah. See, who says that you can't be educational from playing a game?
It's true.
Yeah, tell your college professor that.
So what's interesting is I was doing my 35th anniversary at my company. We had a virtual because of all the COVID thing, and they like, who are you? I had my diversity slide up, all the different who I am. I mentioned I'm a Christian gamer, right? And I mentioned I'm a Twitch streamer, and before I got off my little thing, the guy who's probably his mid 30s, probably mid 30s, early 40s, I don't know his right. He's a VP now. I knew him back when he was a lot younger, but VP. He said, "I'll have to watch you on your Twitch stream." The dude knew what Twitch was. Okay, so that'd be one person I could put down Twitch. I'm a Twitch streamer. Okay, I'm a very good communicator because of that. So you don't know who you're gonna meet nowadays more so than back then about who people down guild experience. I remember I was part of ESO guild, Gashkia, and they've been around since Dark Age of Camelot, and they started doing their own magazine. They learned how to write and publish. I mind you, not in-game stuff, okay, but still do that. Check out the further adventures of Kennethan by liking and subscribing and watching me live on twitch.tv/Kennethan.